very simple. So listen to it. This is what we try to invite. With all our hocus pocus.
That was a rabbit.
It's like a dog. All this hocus pocus boils down to one simple thing.
Not hocus pocus, it's abracadabra.
It is. It is hocus pocus.
Hocus pocus, sorry.
In my
Everyone
English.
is good, so.
In my English, it's hocus pocus.
Okay, just listen. You heard it many times.
Rest in natural great peace. This exhausted mind, beaten helplessly by karma and neurotic thoughts, like the relentless fury of the pounding waves in the infinite ocean of samsara. Rest in natural great peace. Rest in natural great peace. Rest in natural great peace. But sometimes it's wonderful when you really remember what the masters have done and taught. It immediately moves us. It really inspires, connects us. Therefore, we feel a sense of gratitude and appreciation of their work. So, Rinpoche, in this wonderful point, he says, "Rest in natural great peace. This exhausted mind, beaten helplessly by karma and neurotic thoughts, like the relentless fury of the pounding waves in the infinite ocean of samsara. Rest in natural great peace. Rest in natural. In Tibetan is Rangi Hwachang. Rest in natural great peace. This exhausted mind, beaten helplessly by karma and neurotic thoughts, like the relentless fury of the pounding waves in the infinite ocean of samsara. Rest in nature, to rest, to find rest. Clear? Just really that finding that rest, that comfort and ease, just to let go and just to naturally be. Then you see the mind is quietly settled, just like a glass of muddy water. If you don't stir it, the dirt will slowly settle. In the same manner, if you let the mind be in the spacious openness, slowly the confusion of the turbulence of thought and motion settles. The rest in natural peace. The rest in natural peace. This exhausted mind, beaten helplessly background, and neurotic thoughts, like the relentless fury of the bounding waves in the infinite ocean of samsara. Rest in natural, to rest, to find rest. Clear?
Keep your eyes closed. What we're doing here, and I've been doing these days, it's finding a way to come into peace. And the most direct way is to see that we are fighting with ghosts that doesn't exist. It's not real. Everything is unreal. All that we are struggling with. It has no intrinsic nature in itself that we can get rid of or grasp. It doesn't, and that you must understand. We have many analogies in the East of this. One of them is that the man walked out of the village, and then out of the distance he saw a big king cobra, and he said, "My God." So he ran back to the village and said, "There's a big king cobra, you have to come with me and we have to kill it." So they came all with him with rags and sticks, and when they came closer, it was not a king cobra, it was a burned rope. And the moment you know what happens when you just touch a burned rope, disappears. It's one of the images or analogies for how we are struggling. Because our illusion is kept going with all our ideas and concepts and beliefs and labels. As long as we entertain all this drama can go on forever. And we had to meet these ghosts that we have been believing in for so many years and been suppressing and holding back. We have to come close and see it's the burned rope. And you know when you touch a burned rope, it just becomes dust. You have come so close that you touch it. They also have another picture. It's called "A Hare Has No Horns." I call one of my books that. That on a distance it looks like a hare has horns. But if you come close, it's ears, it's not horns. And it's all about coming close. Of course, we talk about solving problems, but essentially, there is no problems to solve. It's all created by your thinking mind, by your conditioning, by all what you have been brought with you of words and language, and it basically is to sit down and become silent, but that is not easy. And that's why I teach you ways to see the impermanence. Like we did, for instance, with Nini, with this fear and aloneness. But you come closer and closer, it's a burned rope. It doesn't exist. It all turns into Om Shanti, to your essential nature, which is a deep, deep silence that is never started. It's always there. The unstruck sound of Om, of existence. It's not really a sound, but it seems like. If you go really deep in, you will understand me, and it's a kind of silence, but it's also not a silence. Sound of silence is close to it. And that's your nature. Your nature is not a woman or a man or 40 years old woman or 60 years old man. It's the body. And essentially also the body is a burned rope. If you come close to the body, it also disappears. If you really, really start feeling the body without words, then you will say, like Buddha said, this body is the Buddha. This body is the truth. So we have to meet all what we are struggling with, to meet it, but eventually we have to see it's all a burnt rope. Such a good picture of it. The closer and closer you come, it's not a snake anymore. Your anger and your pain, and the more you pull away from it, and the more label you put on it, the more words you give it, the more you pull away from it, the more painful it is. If you just come close, just come close, just come close, then you see it's a burned rope. It's dust. It's not even dust, but it's an analogy that express the unexpressible. It's very good. So always remember, we are not here to solve any problems. We are here to realize they don't exist. But we have to invite them in. We have to invite the snake in so it doesn't hide in the grass. Because otherwise we cannot see it doesn't exist. So we do things here, deep breathing and other kind of things, to kind of invite it out. So we can see, my God, there's nothing there. As long as you hold any ideas, concepts, labels, it seems to be real. If you just encounter it directly, without any preconceived ideas about it, how it should be or not be, it's empty. It's impermanent. It's Maya, samsara, as he sings about here. It's the same word, or the same, pointing at the same. So never forget it. And take a time in your life. You are here 60, 70, 80 years. It's nothing to take 3 weeks out and go into a forest and meditate. No smartphones with you, nothing. It's the worst thing that was ever invented, the smartphones. Because people don't come into themselves. And I promise you, we will have more and more sick people. Because when people don't really know what to do, they grab the smartphone and then they get away from themselves. They don't wake up. You don't wake up by looking into a smartphone. You distract yourself and you go on and on and on for years and you don't get anywhere. There is no stories that is so important. No event that is so important. Do like me. I took three weeks in the forest where there was no water, no electricity, nothing, just mouse in the wall. And I sat there and walked in the forest and sat there and didn't meet anybody. I took food with me so I could be alone and meet myself. It's the most important thing I did in my life. Spent so many years at university learning words and words and words and words. For what? So this is really what I want you to understand. We are encountering these difficulties that we are carrying. In this 4 days we have been working with sub-personalities that are popping up. But they're not real. They're ghosts. There are form and names, and that's samsara. That's Maya. So when you have really come close to a kind of subpersonality, then these feelings, see that they're not real if you really feel them. Not when you think about them, they can exist forever. But if you really feel without thinking, it's called mindfulness, presence. And that's the East, and we have no idea about that here in the West. We don't know anything about it. So, in a little while we go out and again work with these sub-personalities. Just remember that they're like a ghost. Doesn't really exist. They exist because you suppress them. You give them energy by suppressing them. They become more and more real the more you suppress them. If I have sun behind me, I will make a shadow on the wall. If I pull away from the shadow, what will happen? It will get bigger, will it not? If I go back, Nukunu, then Nukunu gets bigger and bigger. If I say Nukunu, that was interesting. Oh, interesting. Wow, yeah. What happens? The shadow disappears. This shadow, it's all shadows. They exist because you pull away from them. If you go into them, they disappear. Just like shadows you're fighting with. And then we have all our words and all our concepts and all our ideas. And then we study psychology, we learn even more words. And we get more problems than we had before. Swamiji knows also, studying psychology. We are in an extremely low culture. Try to understand. We would not fight each other if we were really clear and awakened. No way. We will not be scared of Russia and Ukraine or whatever goes on now.
Whatever that country is.
Yeah. We could have Putin to sit and meditate some together with the American president. They could meditate together. It's all a joke, all this. And they get people to get killed and shoot each other. It's amazing. How can we get them to do it? Yeah. They wouldn't do it if they knew who they were. All is impermanent, unreal. All that we see, feel and hear, and it became stronger and stronger because we label it and give it energy by our grasping and rejecting. If we stop that and just meet it, totally disappears. Liberation is the realization of the total non-existence of the universe as such. This is different from a denial of the existence of the ego and the universe. The later is only half knowledge. It's just what I said. Liberation is not about believing in anything. It's the realization of the total non-existence of the universe as such. See if you can feel that. Could you imagine? You become everything. You're just expanding. From the heart. Do. No boundaries. And in this total expansion appears something transparent. And the moment you give it names or grasp it or reject it, it becomes very real. And if you just see how non-existent it is, it disappears. This is different from a mere denial of the existence of the ego and the universe. It's not about denying. Then it still exists. The later is only half knowledge, when you deny something. In dream, the dream body appears to be real. It's so real. But when there is an awakening to the fact of dream, the reality of that body vanish. And you don't ask, where did it go? You don't ask that question. You see a dream character in your dream that is so strong. And when you wake up, you don't ask, where did it go? Never really existed. Even so, the physical body, which is sustained by memory and latent tendencies, is seen to be unreal when they are seen to be unreal. There is no universe, no distance, no barriers. It is the nature of appearance to appear to be real even though it is unreal. Just sit for a moment. If you cannot sit and be still, and things are popping up, then you meet them. Relax into them and see they are impermanent. Like the shadow. Go close to it and it disappears. So is all your feelings and all your stories and all your stuff. Go close, closer and closer, and it disappears. And you ask, my God, but where did it come from? You could see with Nini the other day, when she really relaxed into the fear, it disappears. It's not even right to say it disappears. It's more correct to say it doesn't exist. It's a shadow. When she pulls away from it, it becomes very real. The more she pulls away, the stronger it gets. And then she goes to the university and learns a lot of words, how to get rid of the shadow, and sit with other people that are also fighting with the shadow, and learn a lot of words and language, and instead of just stopping and see it was never there. If you come close. Everybody I work with and take them into their true nature by this associated inquiry, by having them to rest into whatever they are fighting with. They're all so surprised, but I haven't solved it, and it's gone. But I have not understood it. I have not. It just went. It's just there. That's the magic of this kind of meditation. And do something first so you help a little bit to become silent, become present. You can do Gayatri and you can do the Satya mantra I taught you. And then just rest into what is, and it disappears. Maybe we are scared of that. That there is actually nothing here. There's no bodies. Your son and your daughter is also unreal. It's really something you have to encounter. Your son and your daughter seems to appear, forms and names, but they are also not really. They are also that reality. It's not empty, but it's also not empty. It's beyond these concepts. It's so full of nothing. It's so full of fullness. It's difficult to say what it is. Brahman. Who can say what Brahman is? That's why I advise that they don't try to say what Brahman is. They just say, Tatvamasi, you are that. Wake up. Find ways where you can just pierce through, see through all your dramas. They are unreal, made of words, concepts. And all these words and concepts ignite feelings. That's how it works. The moment you call it anger, whatever appears, then it becomes an emotional problem. Otherwise, anger is not a problem. Sorrow is not a problem, all this. But the labeling, don't label. So first, thoughts. And thoughts seem to ignite feelings and states. Yeah, and states is even deeper. And then it becomes into the body. And then you start seeing it outside you. It all starts with thinking. Then you start having problem outside you, with people, with your own behavior. Beginning with thoughts, feelings, states, body, outer world, inner world. We are living in dreams. And the work here is not to give more energy to these dreams, it's to wake up. Also when you start working now, you invite these sub-personalities in, and if you really meet them, let them express themselves, they disappear. There comes a new one, there comes a new one, until there doesn't come anything. Okay? It's all a burned rope.